A very warm welcome on a cold night to tonight's racing action. Tonight we present you two spectacular races of the Reverse Grid Racing League. My co-commentator for this night is not only a race fan and a sim racing driver himself, he's also the founder of the Scientist Reverse Grid Racing League. With no further ado, I'd like you to introduce you to Scientist. Scientist, how you doing? And what do you expect from our two upcoming races?
Hi Balix, thank you very much. I'm excited for tonight. This is the very first Tier 2 league race, fresh off the back of the Tier 1 league, which is already halfway through the season. We've had so many people want to join the league to its unique format, which is reverse grid, as the name suggests, which means that if you finish last, you start on pole for the next race, and some people might think we see that in F2 already, but we extend it all the way down to the full grid. So if you finish 20th, you'll start on pole for the next race, and it's really created some really unique races.
All right.
Different strategies.
Yeah.
And
are we doing 5 lappers or 25%? What is the system here? What is the concept?
yeah, so it's 25%. So we have different tire strategies at play, which really makes some of the racing exciting. And the car performance is equal, and so it really separates the wheat from the chaff.
Perfect. So it sounds to me like you've already said, a F2 concept with a tricky twist, because in F2 you have P8 on pole for the next race, but you just said it's the last one who is on pole for the next race. Is that correct?
Yes, if you're classified last, so if you're disqualified or if you DNF, you will not start on pole. You will start at the back because you're not a classified finisher. So you have to finish last. And what we've seen in the Tier 1 races is some sneaky strategies where some drivers have been deliberately exploiting that loophole to try and get reverse grid pole for the following race. So we're actively trying to discourage that by essentially monitoring the race director. So if we think that you're up to no good, we will impose a grid penalty.
All right.
And if there are repeated offences, a potential race ban.
Yeah. So now that we know how the league works, we dive right into the start of our first league race in Tier 2.
Yes, in a wet Zandvoort. So this is the Dutch Grand Prix.
In the rain. That's very, very tricky for our drivers today for the first race. There must be some focus on here, otherwise it's over before the first lap is even done.
So I got all caught up in the excitement of talking about the league format that we actually missed where everyone is starting. But I think Nick is on pole. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, that wouldn't have surprised me, because Nick is a very, very fast driver, and it's coming up for him. Maybe we see some spectacular races by him, and let's see who can compete with him. 5 red lights out, and away we go.
Very tentative start by everyone in the rain.
And Nick is leading the pack into the first corner while we have some switches in the back, and the first and 2 cars are already spinning.
Yeah,
and
there's
maybe
some
have
contact
damage.
at the back. Some contact at the back there between Maggot, Shipper and SJ. They may have some damage and might need to pit.
Alright, but they have the front wing still on, or is there just a little bit of damage? Tell me something about that.
Well, Shipper looks unscathed. Well, he's struggling to get the car turned in, so maybe there is an end plate damage.
Yeah. So I can tell you that Nick is still leading the race, and Chetty Duck is right behind him, and Angry Orange in 3rd, while Insta is in 4th, and Spooner in 5th. Decunia following in 6th, and Basketball Boy in 7th, while Daddy Pig is in 8th.
So Van's Racing has pulled off a nice move going into the left-hander on Corleone. In the Ferrari, and Corleone's coming back at him on the straights. Nice drag down towards that chicane, which is normally a DRS zone, but in the rain, and Vans has gone off onto the gravel.
Oh.
And the Ferrari has now tagged the Williams. There might be damage. Difficult to tell from this angle. but there's going to be a lot of these guys.
We have a massive. Sorry, I have to interrupt you. We have a massive crash out of the banking section between Angry Orange and Twitch Insta, and it's race over for Twitch Insta. I told you before the race, we'll see who's going to go through the first lap, and I can tell you now, Twitch Insta doesn't make it.
I wonder if that's going to bring out the safety car, because that car is blocking the pit entry.
It's a very dangerous position. You're correct.
Indeed, there is a safety car. I just saw the light come on. The yellow flags are out. Everyone is slowing down, trying to preserve their fuel, trying to preserve their tyres. Will we see some pit stops? Will some guys try to go to the end on fresh inters, or maybe even try the full wets?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very tricky situation right now, especially with cars who have damage. They have to pit to get their wings changed, and we'll see who's going on inters and we'll see who's going on the wets, because I already can see that Shippers is on the full wet tire.
Wow, so it looks like that was actually a VSC, because everyone's back up to racing speed by the looks of it.
Yeah, and I must correct myself. Shippers is on inters. It's Psychopath who's on full wets.
Yeah, and he was struggling to keep it on the track there. Maybe those cold wet tires are not giving him the grip that he needs.
Yeah, I also think it's the perfect intermediate weather. Well, besides that, it's raining. It's raining very, very heavy. You can tell that from here. So Nick leading the pack still under the safety car. Well, Chatty Duck is in second, Angry Orange in third, Spooner in fourth, Dicunia in fifth. And scientists, do I see that correctly? I can't see a safety car. Was that just a VSC?
Yeah, that's what I think I said that earlier. I think what we saw was a VSC, because everyone was quickly getting back up to racing speed. So I think the stewards did a fantastic job in getting that car off the pit entry.
That was a very fast job.
And Sai is in the pits. He's obviously not liking these wet tyres. I think he's going to switch back to the inters, and in fact he's getting a front wing replacement as well. So Sai has been in the wars. In fact, I think he's getting full wet. He's going back on full wets again. So yeah, maybe it was just a front wing
change. We have another DNF, and that's Vans Racing. I didn't get the incident. I didn't get the incident, unfortunately, but I can see that Vans Racing is no longer racing in this Tier 2 championship. And we have another safety car. Maybe right now it's the full safety car, because everybody's slowing down again.
Yeah. It's back to green flag in sector 3, I think, yeah, coming out the banked curve. And Chatty Duck getting a swapper on the banked curve. He did well to keep a hold of that. So yeah, they are back up to racing speed, so maybe Vans had an incident off track which didn't deem the safety car to come out. Vans Racing probably going back to his transit van.
So some very hectic first 3 laps here at Zandvoort in the rain. And I can tell you about that, Nick is pretty solid in his lead. He got 1.45 seconds in front of Chatty Duck, Angry Orange in third, Spooner in fourth, Dicunia in fifth, Basketball Boy in sixth, Daddy Pig in seventh. Scientists, can you tell me something about the midfield and the back markers here?
Yeah, so Don Corleone had to pit for a new front wing, and in the process, I think DB Coupe and Maggot got past him. So Corleone's now at the back of the field, although still way ahead of Sai, who's really struggling to keep the car on the track in the full wets. Getting an absolute swapper on that final curve seems to be catching a few people out. It's looking pretty tight in the midfield between Maggot and DB Coupe. Coupe in the Haas, Maggot in the Racing Point, the Pink Panther, chasing him down. Now, he would be wanting DRS at this stage, but in the wet, the DRS is turned off. So he's going to have to rely on outright pace and grip while Nick sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, it seems pretty obvious that some of these drivers have their fair problems in the wet with the setups maybe. But it seems like Nick and Chatty Duck got their setup pretty good, pretty right on point, and are in the intermediates, have no tussle up in the start or whatsoever, so they're pretty solid there. Angry Orange in third. It's also a gap of 7 seconds between Chatty and Angry Orange, who has a little cushion to his back to Spooner, who's 2.5 seconds behind him. And Dicunia is chasing Spooner just 1 second behind. So it's still pretty close up there from 4th position up to 7th, just within 3 or 4 seconds.
So I'm riding on board with Maggot, who is just over 2 tenths behind DB Coupe, going round the fast right-hander section, which feels like a roller coaster when you're driving it. It's one of the best corners in F1 2020. Can't really say what it's like in real life because these F1 cars haven't actually raced at Zandvoort yet, unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
yeah, but you've got to wonder, with the likes of Nick and Chatty Duck, who have got quite a big gap to the rest of the field, are they taking too much out of their tyres, or do they think they can get away with maybe stretching out so long that they can have a quick sprint at the end, or can they actually go all the way on these tyres? While DB Coupe loses it coming out the chicane, this is a chance for Maggot to maybe take him down into the turn 1, coming out the final advance curve. I'm still riding on board. It's about 3 tenths of a second as Maggot saved up his ERS. DB is getting a bit twitchy, trying to break the toe. Maggot too far behind.
And it seems like we have a very professional chess match here at the front between Nick and Chetty, because it's just like either one is waiting for a mistake from the other one, because it's just 2.6 seconds in the wet. You always have to remember that these tires will go down lap per lap, and it's very, very important, as you said, to conserve these tires, to be very, 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 very clean.
Oh, Balix, there's a spin. There's a spin between Basketball Boy and Daddy Pig Jr. One of them went for the polystyrene boards where the brake markers are. They make contact going round into the right hand. I think it's turn 7, and oh my word, they've lost so many places now. And Daddy Pig, they're struggling to get the car going. Credit to them, they're not resetting to track, which is one of the things we try to discourage as well.
And it seems like Daddy Pig has his fair share in this incident, because he's waiting on Basketball Boy to let him pass. That's a very, very fair move. We didn't really catch what happened here, but it seems like Daddy Pig knows that he might have caused this collision to let him by. We'll see about that later, maybe in the incident section.
Maggot has taken DB Coupe going down in turn 1. I thought it would happen a lot before. It's happened now. But yeah, from that incident, I caught the T-cam, the television camera of Daddy Pig and Basketball's incident, and it looked like Daddy Pig outbraked himself and just tagged the back, and both of them just pirouetted round in synchrony. If you were going to score points for synchronized F1 spinning, these guys would get the 25 points.
I'm pretty sure about that, but there's one interesting thing about Maggot. He's pretty fast, and he has a broken front wing, so this end plate of his right front wing is missing, but he still has some pace. He got 1.6 seconds in front of D Coupe, and he seems unstoppable, even with a damaged wing. So he's going now after Jake, who's 4 seconds in front of him, and Chetty Duck still playing his chess match behind Nick, just 2.2 seconds behind him.
I'm riding on board with the Williams of SJ, who's less than a second behind Shipper in the Alpha Tauri. SJ is very, very twitchy, and I don't know if that's down to his connection, because he's all the way from New Zealand with us tonight. How about the Kiwis, eh? But he's trying to catch Shipper, very, very twitchy. I don't know if it's his driving style or, as I say, a connection issue. Yeah, it must be a connection issue because the screen's twitching like crazy. But he's closing down Shipper.
Oh, and we have a 3-second penalty for Daddy Pig Jr. for multiple warnings. Seems like someone cut the corner here, scientists.
Well...
it happens sometimes, right?
If I was to hedge a bet, it would be that chicane out where the normal DRS zone is, and I think Sai is really struggling on these wet tyres. He's actually been lapped by DB Coupe, who's in 8th place. Sai way down the order. I don't know if it's again maybe a connection issue for him. He's actually from Portugal, but yeah, I think maybe he's on the wrong tyres. He really should be on the inters.
It seems like he's on the wet tires and he's struggling a lot. I see him right now in the back. and he has some problems with these tires.
Yeah, if anything, Balix, the weather's getting a lot lighter, and maybe towards the end we might see a switch to dries.
Oh, that could be very, very interesting, especially with our situation in the lead, because Chatty Duck is still just 2.8 seconds behind Nick, and I'm right now on board with Psychopath to see the struggle with the tires, and I can tell you from here, these tires are not good for this condition. But he stays on track. He's still on these wet tires and he's going another lap. Well, that's pretty patient, but you never know how it will go and when patience does leave. So we see about that. See how Psychopath is doing for the rest of the race.
Well, after all the craziness has happened, the field's beginning to settle down a bit now. Some gaps are beginning to emerge. The closest battle I think we can see is between Maggot and Jake. Maggot closing down Jake. He's about just less than 2 seconds behind. Corleone down in 11th. SJ is showing as one. Oh, and SJ has had an incident. He's shown 1 lap down, so maybe he is actually out of position. But he's just been passed by Corleone. I think he's had an incident with the barrier. He's still got his front wing intact, but his
rear end is stepping out. Yeah, you're right. There's something wrong with this car. Or maybe he has the wrong setup. Who knows? But it seems like he's really struggling on this track in these conditions.
So I don't know if this is a timing glitch, but he's showing in 11th place at the moment. Unless Basketball and Daddy Pig themselves are both a lap down.
Well, we see something very good for Nick here, because Chatty is now 4 seconds behind Nick. So Nick is constantly working lap per lap to get this lead even bigger. And he's doing this very, very good. He's just gaining 10th by 10th, and he's very good on this track in these conditions. And as you already said, the weather seems to clear up a little bit. It's not raining that heavy.
And Ballet, stop the press. We have someone making a gamble onto the prime tyre. So Shipper has pitted in the Alpha Tauri and has gone on the hard compound tyres.
Oh, on the hards. Oh, that's very interesting, because we're on lap 11 of 18. And I would say the softer tyre, especially in these conditions, would have been the better choice. What do you think about that, scientist?
Yeah, that would be my gut reaction, would be to go on the softer tyres, because they take less time to heat up. The hard tyres are going to take much longer, and on a cold track, there's less rubber on the track because of the rain. It's going to take much longer to get temperature in, so you want to be on the softest tyre compound. And then again, he's probably thinking, will those soft tyres get to the end? But it's a very bold call from Shipper. Maybe he's relying on some people having incidents or accidents of their own. I can tell on board he's struggling to get the throttle down.
So I have to interrupt you, because we got someone else in the pits, and it's DV Coupe, and he's also changing to dry tires. He's on the mediums, and Corleone is doing the same, but he's going for the soft tire. Wow, he's going for the red tire, and that could be a very, very bold but good call.
Well, Jeff is a busy man. He's having to be engineer to all 14 of these guys, so he's probably got 14 walkie-talkies saying, get on the dry tires.
And we got a yellow flag. We got a yellow flag in the second sector, I can tell you. I don't see why. Now we got green, so there must have been somebody off track but gaining on track again. And I'm right now with Maggot. He's right behind it's Jakey. And
Chatty has pitted. Chatty's on the mediums, so they're all switching to the dries. You can see the rain has stopped now, so everyone is going to just team into the pits.
And this could be crucial for the league, scientists, because Nick is still on track on the intermediates, while Chatty is on the mediums, and he's again on track and now chasing the time on track behind Nick. He's 18 seconds behind Nick. This could be crucial for the lead here.
What a fantastic race this is. Maggot is now up to 3rd place, but is still on the inters. He's opted to go out for another lap, and Daddy Pig Jr. runs wide. I'm on board, and Maggot has now been passed by Angry Orange, who is on the soft tyres.
But scientists, the red tyre or the soft compound is now the tyre to go on. You can see that Corleone unlapped himself, and Maggot is in 4th, but he's struggling on these tires. And Nick is now in the banking, and he might come to the pits now. Let's see. He has to. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's coming in. So I'm going to Chetty Duck, who's going into the banking right now. Let's see if he gained the seconds on track on the better tire, and if he's made the right call at the right time.
There's a problem with Nick. There's a problem with Nick in the pits. They're taking far too... he must have served a penalty, I think.
And it's done. Chetty is in 1st position. He made the right call at the right time. That's absolutely brilliant. That's brilliant.
Alex, I cut to Nick and he got held up in the pits. It looked as if he had to serve a penalty, or there was something wrong with the pit crew. Maybe the Alfa Romeo team had the previous car in and they hadn't finished getting the tyres ready for Nick. So I think Nick's pit team have cost him this race.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. You have to rely on everything, even when the weather isn't the best. So Nick is in 2nd.
Maggot's pitting for the Newfoundland and soft tyres. He's still in 2nd place.
Yeah, but I can tell you, scientists, the field is still pretty much the same, because Angry Orange is still in 3rd, Spoon in 4th, and D'Cunha in 5th. Tell me something about that.
We've got Spinner's Basketball Boy, and look, Alex, Corleone is now the fastest man on track. As he said, he was flying. He made the switch to the softs. He is on a flyer.
Scientists, we have a very spicy battle on track. Jake is in 6th, Maggot in 7th, and Maggot is attacking him. Oh, that was a brilliant move by Maggot, whose tires are fresh and already on temperature. And Jake is behind him and attacking him.
And Charlie Duck sets the fastest lap on the medium compound tires. That is impressive, particularly on a fairly cold track on the medium tire.
Yeah, we have a very quick situation here. So Nick is gaining on Chetty, because Nick is on the soft tire and Chetty on the mediums. So we have 5 laps to go, and it's just 3.9 seconds. That could be a battle for last lap.
We have purple sectors flying all over the place. So Angry Orange on the softs was fastest, and then within a few seconds Spooner and the Red Bulls now setting the fastest lap of the race at 1:13.9. The track is getting drier.
I'm right now on board with Jake behind Maggot, and it seems like Maggot got the position and is defending it in a very good way, because he's about 1 second in front of Jake.
Nick is back up to 2nd place, Alex. How the hell is he managing to do this? He's only 2.8 seconds behind Chatty Duck. And on softer rubber, he's going to be chasing down Chatty Duck for the rest of this race, with DRS being activated soon as well.
Chatty Duck another fastest lap, topped by Nick with a 1:11.2 flat. Oh man, this will be a great battle. Nick is just 3 seconds behind Chetty. Oh man, I'm sweating already.
Wow, what a first race to call, Alex.
It's amazing. Action-packed rain in Dutch, on the Dutch Grand Prix, man. It's something special. Maggot is gaining on D'Cunha, but it's 17 seconds, so if he's not making any mistake, he will bring home 6th position for Force India. Oh, now it's Racing Point. For the old guys, it's Force India.
I think one person who will ruin their decision is Shipper, because he chose to go on the hard tyres when he probably could have got away with going on the mediums or even the softs. With 3 laps to go, he's still down in 10th place. He's not made any inroads, and he's quite a way behind Corleone, who went on the soft tyres.
And so SJ is right behind him on the soft tyre. And SJ had a lot of problems on the inters on the last lap, as you can remember, and he's now gaining on Shippers for the last point.
So the only thing, I'm just checking the race director to check if there are any penalties outstanding that might be awarded. So Daddy Pig has his 3-second penalty.
But I can tell you now that Nick put in another fastest lap. So this is going down. Nick is only 1.7 seconds behind Chetty Duck. Oh, scientists, I'm out of my seat right now.
Yeah, I don't think Nick got a penalty. Looking at the race incident, I think he was held up in the pit box by the Alfa Romeo team that was serving the other Alfa of Jake. So I think they must have pitted within fairly close proximity to each other.
We have another.
Nick has done incredible to close this gap down.
And we have another very close battle on track for 4th position between Spooner and D'Cunha. He's just 0.8 of a second behind Spooner and trying to get 4th position. And D'Cunha is on the soft tire as well as Spooner, so it will be a battle only for 4th position. And DQ got a 3-second time penalty for that. It will be a battle for position, and it's coming down to racecraft and overtaking skills between those two. And I'm switching now to Nick, because Nick is just 1 second behind Chetty, and we're in the penultimate lap. So it's coming all down. The chess match is now over. It's all going down. The penultimate and the last lap. Nick is 7/10 of a second behind Chetty.
We've got a yellow flag in sector 2.
I think something happened to Jake.
And Daddy Pig has left the session, so it looks like he's DNF'd.
Oh, that's very unfortunate for him.
Which means he will not be starting near the front of the grid, unfortunately. At the moment, reverse grid pole is going to Sai, who's a lap down, but he's keeping on track, which means he's going to finish the race and start on pole for the next race, as it stands. Before
we switch to the battle for the lead, can you tell me something about SJ? He's in 11th place and close behind Chippers.
Oh wow, look at this. He's obviously got the DRS active.
Oh, I jinxed it. I jinxed it. Basketball boy is going at SJ.
But SJ outbraked himself, hit the gravel.
So Scientists, we're right now for the battle for first. Nick is half a second behind Chetty Duck. We're on the last lap. So we're staying with these two on camera just to get the move of the day, maybe. And yes. Chetty outbrakes himself a little bit into that tricky left-hander.
Well, while you're following those guys, I'm going to follow D'Cunha, who's less than a second, and got the DRS on Spooner. So I'm going to watch this battle while you take the front of Alex.
Oh, it's unbelievable. These two are racing for the lead, for the win, and they're very, very aggressive. And they won't leave anything here on track. They drive their heart out. And Nick is now trying to attack with DRS on Chetty into the chicane. Let's see if he can pull out a move. Oh, it's so close, but he can pull it out. Oh, he's right behind him, 0.4 of a second. They're going into the penultimate corner and then onto the banking. Nick is right behind him.
Oh, there's contact in turn 1. Sorry, Alex. I'll talk about it after your battle.
And I can tell you now that Chetty Duck has won the Dutch Grand Prix. Nick in second, Angry Orange following in third right now in the banking. But back to you, Scientist.
What a crack, what an absolute fantastic race. It's Jake and Corleone had a coming together in turn 1. Corleone, I think, has got past him subsequently. D'Cunha is not going to have enough to catch Spooner. DRS, ERS, trying to break the toe. It's 4th for Spooner, 5th for D'Cunha. Maggot is going to cross the line in 6th after quite an eventful race for him. Shipper did 7 laps on the hard tyres, and we've got another. Oh, look, we've got Corleone and Jake going at it again for 8th and 9th place.
Oh, and Jake got it. Yeah, I'm right on there. And Corleone's right behind him. Let's see if we got something special coming up here. Corleone in 9th in the Ferrari, right behind Jake in the Alpha. But it seems like Jake got it. Yes, it seems like.
Wow. What can you say about it?
What a race, Scientist. Oh, that was amazing. That was absolutely amazing.
If we ever wanted an advert for the league, that was it. Corleone gets driver of the day.
That's fantastic.
And gets the extra championship point because of it. What a fantastic race.
He drove his heart out, I can tell you. He started, I think, in 14th. So, massive result for him.
Well, I can categorically say there was no deliberate tactics trying to get last place. I think Sai got it because he went on the wrong tyre. I think that was just a bad strategy call by him. Maybe not necessarily poor, it was just unfortunate. So Sai will start on reverse grid pole as the Alfa Romeo and the Red Bull and the Ferrari celebrate on the podium.
But it is, you win or you learn, so Sai will take his lessons out of that and come back strong in the second race.
So Nick, by virtue of the fastest lap, gets the extra championship. I need to screenshot this to do that. Someone has to do the job properly here. Might as well be me. Right, thank you, Alex. I will join you shortly. I am going to duck out and rejoin the lobby.
Yeah, perfect.